Sometimes I was so confused between two cultures. Which one is right, which one is wrong?
They've been given too much freedom. Can we say too? Too is a negative word. A lot of freedom? Should we say a lot of freedom, or how much freedom is too much freedom?
For my mom, for my culture, and I'm sacrificing for my children. So sometimes I get lost. Which way is the right way?
This leads to a lot of loneliness.
There is no one to talk to me. There is no one to share this feeling with.
Education banned. Now you are not respectful.
And don't do this to me. They hurt my feeling. But I never say back to them that you're hurting my feeling. I'm not that person anymore.
Hello everyone, welcome to Raw Talk with Sarosh, where we strip off the layers and talk about the real. Before we begin, I would like to let you know something about my guest. She's the kind of person who can sit in a room silent, yet she knows everything that's going on. She studies you, not with judgment, but with a quiet depth that makes you wonder if she's already figured you out even before you spoke. She's calm, she's composed, but inside she has fought and won wars no one has seen. Every battle has shaped her, none has ever broken her. She carries herself with grace. She speaks with a measured confidence that demands clarity and draws you in, and she dresses up with effortless elegance. This is Deeba Juenda. Deeba John, thank you very much for coming. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for reading me so deeply.
I'm going to give my viewers, or our viewers, a bit of background into what we're going to talk about, and then I will have you take it away. So today we're talking about two worlds, two realities that shape Afghan women in very different ways. In Afghanistan, women navigate a society where traditions define their roles. Women in the West, for example, they experience freedoms that come with different set of challenges. But at their core, they both carry the same challenges. They both carry the same meaning: identity, struggles, and constant pressure to succeed. Some people might argue that Afghan women in Afghanistan are stronger because of what they have endured or because of what they are enduring as we speak. Others might, on the contrary, say that women who live in the West face an entirely different kind of battle, i.e., a sense of belonging, trying to carve out a future for themselves and try to, identify where they stand. So the question here is, who has it harder? Who is freer? And does freedom always mean success? I will have you answer that, Deeba John. Who do you think has it harder? Women in Afghanistan or women in the West?
Well, as I experience both, yeah. And a mother has the most pressure in the life, even if you live in Europe or in Afghanistan, it's the same. But the difference is that in Afghanistan, you don't have law, you don't have the government to protect you. All you have is your husband, your brother. Mm-hmm. A man have to be there, anyone. It could be your grandfather, it could be your uncle. So, you always have someone like a bodyguard, and they protect you. But in here, we have the government to protect us. And we have the hard time here too, because as you are a mother, you raise up your child and you have the responsibility till age of 18. And they ask the mother whatever happened to your child, the school, hospital, and you're responsible and you can't do anything. And I think that's not a freedom to hear, because you can't do anything with your career. And the school time, you can't work like full time. And you have distraction with school holidays. And that's quite challenging. And it was challenging for me because when I was married, I was a very traditional Afghan girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea about the world outside. I knew only the life inside of my family.
Right.
And they never explained to me how to be in live your life. And so it was very hard for me that I step into a mother life and a family life. And especially that I was a refugee on that time. I didn't had my passport. I didn't had my career. And then I had my children. And I said, now what? How am I going to raise them up? I don't have career. I don't have my passport. I don't have a home. And it was really very hard for me to cope with that situation. And I did it, but it was very hard, and without my family. But I saw the difference between me and my children. So I have learned from my children how to be a European woman. So they always compared me. They always told me, "Oh, you're an Afghan mom," and they start to teaching me how to be a European mom. So.
Right.
And I tried hard. I worked on that time. I went to college and I started driving, and I did so many things in one. And I do remember that I haven't slept for many years, and I was waking up. Everything was double job for me.
Mm.
So I paid a lot. Yeah. Just to change myself for my children, to be a wise mom and take my children to school and raise them in a different way. First, I have to learn myself. So how is life here outside?
Well, that makes it doubly more challenging.
Yes.
It?
Yeah. Because I had no idea. I always had my brother. I always had my uncle to go outside with me for shopping. And suddenly I was alone on the road.
Yeah.
And then I said, which shop do I have to go? And how to find a hospital, how to find a school, and how to drive. So, and the hard thing was that when I came home back from outside, I felt that I'm a different person. It's a different culture. We are a family, so everyone share things, and I had less pressure. Yeah. And as soon as I went out, I was alone, and I was a refugee, and I had to wait for my passport, and I had no career. And so it was totally a different life. So I didn't know which one to choose. Right. So sometimes I was so confused between two cultures. Which one is right? Which one is wrong? And that was very hard. Yeah. And I was very emotional. And as a European woman, you are free. You have confidence. You can drive. You can go anytime at night. You can travel with your car from London to Germany or any country. So as an Afghan woman, as I was at home, no, you can't go out. You're a woman and you can't go alone without your husband. And so it's dark. Yeah. So they scared me. Yeah. And they said to me, no, you can't do that. Or they pushed me to be, you're a mom. That's your job. You have to clean the house. You have to look after the kids. And then I couldn't digest this, and I didn't know. So I was doing both an Afghan woman's job and a European woman's job. Yeah. And it was too hard to be two person at the same time.
And that leads to someone getting stuck between two identities.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, for example, as the sociologists say that there are two types of societies we have. One is a collectivist society where, for example, everybody try and help one another. They support one another. Like, for example, back in Afghanistan, society is like that. It's a collectivist society where women there might actually have their limitations, their restrictions, and their problems, but they also happen to have a lot of support. For example, from their husbands, from their families, brothers. That happens. Now, compare that to the individualist society, which is, for example, in Europe. They've been given too much freedom. Can we say too? Too is a negative word. A lot of freedom. Should we say a lot of freedom, or how much freedom is too much freedom? Now, what happens here is that individually you're allowed to do how you like it, and then go about your way, yourself, and you make your own decisions. Now, this leads to a lot of loneliness because you don't find what a collectivist society gives you. Don't you think that too much freedom, how much freedom is too much freedom and how much freedom is enough? It's always debatable.
Well, the freedom is, it depends on the law, that the law protects you. It's not... That's a different freedom. So as an Afghan woman think that we are not free in Afghanistan. So, and in here you're free. It means that here the government and the law protects you. And you have freedom of, they don't count on your gender. So they don't say to you straight away, oh, you are a woman.
Yeah, you're not known by your gender.
No.
You're known as a human.
Yes. Yeah. So this is freedom. I call this freedom.
Yeah.
But sometimes people think, no, freedom is a different thing. And we can think of higher education. We can, as a freedom, we can be more creative. So freedom is not that you have to wear a scarf or not to wear a scarf, or not to go anywhere. So that's totally different, the freedom that the Afghan woman in Afghanistan think and freedom in here. So in Afghanistan, as I said, that there is no law. There is no protection for a woman and a man, to both. So in here, we both have a protection and there is a discipline and everything has a law. As you work, as you go to school, and your job and humanity, you can't disrespect anyone. But in Afghanistan, we just disrespect each other and we don't know that is disrespect. We just live privately and without any discipline and without any law. So people are living privately. Yeah. And in here, you're not private. You share with the country. Yeah. You share with the world, and everyone knows how much freedom they have, what they can do with their life. So that's what I like. That's what I like to be a European woman, that I have my freedom and I have law. And as an Afghan woman, I just have to wait for my mom, and everyone else make decision for you. And you can't say anything to them because you have to respect them. Yeah. And this is very confusing and very challenging. And especially the time that I had to raise up my kids, because the way I was raised up was totally different. Yeah. And then it's another sacrifice. So I'm in the middle and I'm sacrificing for my mom, for my culture, and I'm sacrificing for my children. So sometimes I get lost. Which way is the right way? Yeah. And what happens with my wishes? I'm just serving everyone. And there is no one to talk to me. There is no one to share this feeling with. And when I sit with my friends, like in here, and they just talk differently. And when I sit with my Afghan, with my childhood friends or family, that's a different subject. And so I have a feeling I'm a human. Sometimes I can't digest it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it must be so, exhausting that you have to, for example, constantly, transform yourself from one personality to another personality, right?
Yes.
Just as you said. And I was reading in an article a couple of days ago with regards to, what a writer, an author that had written an article in a newspaper. This was stated as Afghan women or an Afghan baby girl, as soon as she's born in Kabul, it was specifically mentioned in Kabul.
Oh.
And it said that the decisions are made for her. As soon as it's identified it's a baby girl, decisions are made at that very moment.
Yes.
It's not waited for her to grow up and then have her own personality, her own opinion, and have the free will and the freedom to express herself. The decisions are made for her. And Bullet pointed a few of these, what decisions are made for her, even when she's just born. And they are education, banned. This was the first one. Second, the second one was, if I correctly remember, that right to work, severely restricted. And ability to walk alone, dependent on a male guardian. So these were the three, and there were a few more that were listed there. And I felt really sad, because it may be to some extent, the way it was put in this article by the author, or it may not be. What do you think? Well, I'm asking you this because you've had, you've experienced as a woman, you've experienced, because women suffer more than men do back home or in that society. That's why I put that question forward to you to answer.
Well, in my perspective, it's both have problems, because we are not sharing the life together. Because my older brother, he was taking over the life after my dad died. And 2 years ago, when I met him, he said, I want to be free. I don't want to think about you anymore. Because the day he was born, he had the stamp, you're a man, you have to protect your family, and you are responsible. So the same thing is for a girl. There is a stamp, she's a girl, she have to stay home, she have to learn cooking, cleaning, washing, and take the home responsibility. And then when she is 16 or 18, she have to go and get married. So this is on that time you're born, and the family think like that, and you move on with this. But that's okay in Afghanistan, because the situation is like that. So people are doing their best there. But compared to Europe, and when you come to Europe in an age and you start your marriage life, you raise up your kids, and it's totally different. So I realized that, oh my God, I don't know how to raise up my son. I don't know how to do that. So I don't know how to look after my house, how to do cleaning, how to do cooking at the same time. And I didn't know how to get to the hospital. And the lifestyle was totally different from Germany to London. And it was tough. And I realized that time that, why they are keeping us at home, and why they are not letting us to learn the life, and why they keep us like a child still. And now how I'm going to raise up my son. And I always had difficulties with my children that whenever I said something to my son to do, he said to me, oh, I'm not a slave in Afghanistan. people use children like a slave. I'm not your vehicle. So I was realizing on that time, and my son was reminding me, my daughter was reminding me, and that the differences. So every day, I had to think two culture, and then have to think which one is right, which one is wrong. And I could cope with both of them, but my children cannot do that. And most of the time, I love to talk to my children that they have to understand me, but they have no interest to know about my childhood, about my culture, about my family. And to me, family was very important. And because I left my family, I left my school, I left all my memories in Afghanistan. And now when I tell something about that to my son or my daughter, they'll say, oh, who cares about your village, about your uncle? And whatever they hear from news, they think that's Afghanistan. So they'll say, oh, you're just a refugee, mom, and who cares about? And I feel really inside sad that I cannot tell my feeling to my son. And with my mother, I cannot talk about the life in Europe because she's not going to understand me.
Yeah.
And I cannot share that feeling with her, how I'm feeling in this two culture. And this is very hard, and we are getting disconnected. And I don't like this disconnection. I like to be connected with three culture. I want to learn the new resources. And as an Afghan, we have good qualities, and we are hard worker, and we have more coping mechanisms, and our experience will help our children.
Yeah.
So I think we should learn how to communicate, and we should learn a lot, I think, about our culture, about past, and about future. And it is very challenging that today is technology is taking over everything, and that's another world. So, and the mothers in here, Afghan mothers, are fitting in the society very quickly because they learn from their children. I learned everything from my children. So as I took them to school, and in the age of 3, the teacher told me about the psychology of my son, about his confidence, about his behavior. And I follow that all the time. So this is how I learned, and I fit myself in the system. And I compared to myself that I didn't have this. Yeah. So now I'm gonna learn new resources. I'm gonna let my children in freedom. So I'm not gonna hold them back and teach them my culture. So we do have good things in our culture, but we have something that doesn't fit in Europe life. Yeah. So it's really a big subject to talk about it.
It definitely is, yeah. That's true. So we've actually, discussed this so far, and we've come to this point where we've realized that oppression comes in, various forms, in various different forms. It doesn't have to be by law or restriction, but it could actually be in form of just a whisper at the back of your head that you are not enough, you are never enough. And that's the kind of, the Afghan girls, the Afghan women in Afghanistan have always been inculcated in this similar way, that because you're a woman, you're not enough.
Yes.
So the best thing for you is to stay home and look after the family, as you mentioned, cooking, cleaning, and that's about it. You can't do more than that. So this is a form of oppression.
Yes.
That people have totally, ignored. They've never brought it up. They've never discussed it in the media. And I think it's high time that it should be brought up and it should be discussed.
Yeah, of course. Communication is everything. And the first thing that they took our confidence was fear. They did give us fear. They said, no, don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't talk. Yeah. Don't look at me. And
when there are elders,
yes, don't talk.
Yeah, the minors, the juniors don't talk.
Yes. Yeah. And they always think that you are a child and you have no voice. And I do remember that I was telling everyone 5 years older than my age.
Yeah.
Because no one would have listened to me. They said, oh, she's a child, I'll ignore her. So, I did these kind of things. I said, no, I was 10. I said, no, I'm 15. Yeah. Right. So that
and then they term that woman or that girl that says no as rebellious.
Yeah.
Now you are not respectful.
No.
Because you are now saying that you have your own opinion.
Yeah.
They basically put you on the spot and they tell you, no, this is wrong.
Yes.
You can't have your own opinion.
No.
You accept what we say.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel confused which way is the right way. I get lost. So what is right? What do I have to do? And when I go to Germany to my mom, I feel like strangers to them for a week.
Yeah.
And then later on, then I get used to them, to their lifestyle, and I go back to the past. And as I get used to them, I come back to my home. And then when I come home, I'm a different person. So different lifestyle. And so...
as a mother, right, I think to be a mother is one of the most wonderful things, a human being can do, a woman can do, which you are. And that is, I think, the acme of, according to me, success is pronounced and explained in different forms and versions. But according to me, when a woman becomes a mother, that's the acme of success. Because, through the pain and the tribulations and the trouble that she goes, and then eventually brings that baby to the world, and then, presents that to the society as a good human being that then eventually goes on to help others, for example, becomes a professional, like, for example, a doctor, and does several surgeries, helps other people, and, brings them back from the jaws of death, for example. So that's the best thing, that's the acme of success. And you're a mother yourself. Now, in Afghanistan, now, as you said, when you go to Germany to your mom, and, it takes a bit of time for you or for them to get used to, which is very strange. I mean, like, family are supposed to be really attached and very close, right? They should understand one another. Success amongst us, unfortunately, amongst the Afghans, is never celebrated. Even if it is, it's not to the extent that it should be. So what they say, it's looked at with suspicion, right? They say, for example, oh, you've done that. You've reached that success level, but have you forgotten where you've come from? They take you all the way back to where you came from.
Exactly.
So they remind you, remember what your origin is and what you've done. So basically downplaying and depreciating all the hard work you've done to get to where you are.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Which is so sad.
It is. I remember that when I was married, and I had my mother-in-law, I had my law family around me, and I said, okay, this is my husband and he gotta protect me. I had to respect them. And I was following the culture, the family. And outside of it, when I went to the job center first time, they didn't ask me about my dad's name. They didn't ask me about my husband family, my husband, and they asked about my education, my experience, and I had nothing to say to them. And it was so painful that I had nothing in my hand. Yeah. What was my experience? What level was my education? And which country did I came from? And so that was very painful that I had to answer those questions. And from there, I start seeing the differences. And I choose to accept everything that I didn't had. Like I was 22 and I had 2 kids. And my
a very
daughter...
tender age.
Yes, yeah. And my daughter in the age of 22, she has no idea about marriage, about kids, about family, and about traditions. And she was focused on her education, and she knew what to do, what her next level is, and what to do with her life. And I didn't know what to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I just hold it on. I said, okay, I will raise up. Now I have my children. It's my responsibility. And I don't want my children to taste the life I did. So I'm going to be wise. I'm going to give them a British life to them. No matter what happened to me, who I was, I'm going to let them to be different children and live their life, the one I dreamed. So now I'm very happy I did that, but it was very long. It was very, very long to hold on to that. And now I don't know what to do. So now my feelings are different than 20 years ago. So my wishes and what I saw in my life, it changed me. I'm not that person anymore. And I feel so lonely, and I feel confused which personality, which identity I have to follow that, and what was my dream, and how much in this age I can do. Now I have to start again from the beginning, that I'm free now from my children. Now I have to go back to college, to uni, which I am already in university. But it's again hard. It's again hard to be a mother and go back and start again. And
does it sometimes feel like you are seeing your world through your children's eyes now? Like the life you wanted to live, which you couldn't, but now you want to live your life through their eyes. Does it ever feel like that? Now, I'm saying this, it's because personally, I've got kids. And when I was a child, I always wanted to have toys. Yeah. Right? I loved toys. I looked at other children who had them and I didn't. I would feel really disappointed and really sad. So now sometimes when I go to a toy shop, toy store, I look at these toys and I choose toys that I wanted to have when I was a kid.
Aww.
And I give them to my kids. Sometimes they like it. Other times they say, no, Dad, we don't want this. We want to have that. Then I'll have to obviously accept what they want to have. But I always want to give them toys that I wanted to have when I was a child. That's the reason I asked you this question.
Well, yes, I do. But it's not interesting for them.
Yeah.
Because my son starts playing game age of 3. And he's always playing game. And so, no. And my daughter, she didn't like to play with the doll. Yeah. And she was different. So the time is different, their toys are.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But what actually this leads us to is that it's not then, now I could be an example. It's not that only women are stuck in the past, right? The troubles they've had in the past. It's even the men who are affected.
Well, of course.
Now,
of course.
As someone as me, for example, if he could, for example, select a toy and give it to his child to have just because he couldn't have it.
Yeah.
Although he's living in here at the present moment, but his mental state is back where it was, decades ago. I couldn't have this toy at that time. So you're right at the moment, you're thinking about two different situations. So it's even the men who are affected.
Yes, of course. The
men are affected because they are given this responsibility to look after the women in the house, look after the children, bring food on the table. So all of this responsibility. And at the same time, you have to go to school, you have to go to university, be educated. So it's not one burden on your shoulder, but you've got various other things that you have to, juggle at the same time.
Yeah, it is. As I said, that it's easy for a woman because the woman will follow the children's routine and the education system, and they fit in the system quickly. As a man, in Afghanistan, they had to work outside of the house. And so they don't know how to engage with the kids. And they don't know how to do housework, help his wife.
Yeah.
And they just think, oh, no, this is your job. Now you have to take the kids. And then he will stay outside. And from outside world, what will he gain? Nothing. Yeah, it's just his profession, but he misses his family life.
Yeah.
And he doesn't enjoy that. And he missed the kids' age. And they don't think of this, how sweet is, and the child borns only once. And their age doesn't come again.
That's right.
And a father does miss this. And it's just because his ego or because he doesn't like to change himself. He doesn't like to educate himself, the difference. And I think men are suffering more.
Yeah.
That they are very disconnected with everyone, with everything.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. And if you get engaged with children, you will come to the system very quickly. And
you'll
you
build
share
that connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Build that connection, and
love increases as well.
Yeah, otherwise you're isolated. I have seen most of the men, they're isolated, they're depressed, they don't talk about anything. That's why they go to addiction, and they have no life. Yeah.
There is a very famous saying that goes around in Afghan community amongst Afghan men. So in the past, various times I've asked my friends, I don't see you very often. You've become lost. You've become so busy. Where have you been all this time? He goes to me, even my kids don't see me. I don't see my kids. Other people's kids grow up like that. Mine grow up like this.
Yeah.
Which basically means they're sleeping when I'm leaving the house.
Yes.
And they're sleeping when I come back into the house.
Yeah.
So they are growing up like that, basically meaning that he sees them in the bed only while sleeping.
Yeah.
So that disconnection affects children. And I think that's also one of the reasons why children are closer to mom than they are to their dad. Not here in the West, but back home. A lot of the time you see that children are closer to their moms.
Yes, yeah, because the dad doesn't want to get engaged. And if the dad gonna get engaged, I think that's a big help for them, because they will learn life skill. They will learn new things in life, and they will change themselves. And we need to change in our life. We can't stay in our old mentality, old ideas, and we have to learn and bring it back to Afghanistan and teach them. So, yeah. That's
it's something actually just occurred to me. It makes me smile. Is that when I did that and I did this, it just reminded me that some children grow horizontally, others grow vertically.
Yes, that's right. Yes, well, we can say a lot about it, because we have no direction. and we didn't have map in our life. We didn't have guide in our life. And as we are here in Europe, we are still disconnected. We don't have like Pakistani people, like Indian people, like we don't have a good community.
Yeah.
Afghans, we don't have unity. And I feel bad about it. We need a unity. We need to help each other. We need to talk about our everyday struggling, and we can make a change about this. So whenever we Afghans sit together, we just talk about past. We talk about the lost, and we are very traumatized.
Yeah.
And I don't like to talk about the past and be traumatized, but we have to learn new.
We need to appreciate what we have now.
Yes, yeah, and learn. And learn and talk about it. Yeah. The bad thing is that we don't talk. We don't talk about our feelings, and feelings doesn't exist in Afghanistan. They don't count on your feeling, and they don't count on your brain, on psychology. So what they count is physical appearance and your look. Yeah. And this is how they judge you. So they don't know your personality. They don't let you to be who you are. They press your feeling. If you want to try to tell them how you feel, they don't like it. And they say, don't talk about it. No, what I'm saying, you have to do that. I had a tough life, and this is life. That's it. So they don't want to learn that psychology, and they don't learn to respect each other's feeling. So one day, even I didn't know about feeling. And one day my daughter and my son was fighting with each other, and my daughter came with crying, screaming, and saying, oh, Fartash is hurting me. And when I asked him, why do you do that? He said, Mom, you know what? She's hurting my feeling. I said, wow, 8 years old boy, he's talking about his feeling. And I don't know my feeling. And my oldest brother or my grandmother or my mother, they hurt my feeling. But I never say back to them that you're hurting my feeling and don't do this to me. And now in this age, as a mother, I know that what feeling is. So
children have the courage to come up and say that.
Yes.
But what caused, for example, yourself, what caused you not to be able to say it?
Fear, respect, and lack of communication.
When we say respect and fear, they are intricately, related to each other. Where we are respecting somebody out of fear, or are we really respecting them?
I think.
Or are we respecting them because we fear the consequences that might occur if we don't?
Well, I think that's the thing. The fear, again, is not respect, because as a child, they give you fear, they scare you. So how can you know on that time this is fear or respect? But fear, you know. But about respect, you don't know that you have to respect them. So that's really hard. Yeah. And so when my children are talking so openly, and I have to listen to them, no matter it hurts me, no matter. And in the beginning, maybe I was like them, that I did shout on them, and I stopped them to say about their feelings. But later on, when I learned, I said, no, my children have a right. Yeah. So I'm not going to raise them up the way they raised me up. Yeah. So it was very hard. It's a big sacrifice. And I noticed that we are very traumatized with our communication. We easily say someone, I will kill you. Yeah. Or even from fun. When they love you, they will say, I will kill you. I will eat you.
Yeah.
So I notice these kind of things in everyday life, that this is not right. Why we are talking about this in everyday life? Why we are not
Killing
kind?
and hurting.
Yes, yeah, killing and hurting, and bullying. Yeah, we easily say we bully, and I didn't know what bullying is. And when I learned here in a school from my children's experience, then I said, oh, we have so much bullying in our everyday life, which is not good. And we didn't notice that was bullying.
Yeah.
We said it's fun. And yeah, so there is lots of things that I would like to share later on in my videos about the system, what is right, what is wrong. And we have to disconnect those ideas. We have to, it should be expired.
Yeah.
I will say like that.
Yeah.
And we have to learn new things, new ideas, and we have to read book a lot, which we Afghans don't. And you don't see any book in our family's home. When you go to their home, you don't know about their education, about their jobs, because you don't know what they like. And there is no book in anyone's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like to talk about this more.
I know we've touched base on a lot of things that I wanted to ask, and you've so eloquently explained a lot of things, and you've covered a lot of the questions that I had. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, we've left families, each one of us, the Afghan community, members of the Afghan community have left families back home, and we are helping them and supporting them. The moment we receive a call from somebody in Afghanistan, after saying or asking how you are, the next question is, I need some money, right? We have generously, all Afghans have generously helped. But what other forms of help and support do you think the Afghans need other than money? For example, contributing in terms of ideas, in terms of how they could, change their way of living, how they could now match up against or with what the rest of the world is. Why are we left behind?
Well, we are lack of awareness. And I think it's, we didn't talk about our pain and our lifestyle and struggle in Europe. We thought they are in war and they need more help. And we automatically thought of that. And we didn't know that there has been change. And we have to teach them about the system, about the law, about the education. We shouldn't show them the lifestyle, the luxury lifestyle. And in here, as we do that, we send the pictures, and which is not much luxury for us here. No. And we have just a normal life and very low.
But the pictures don't depict that.
Yes. Yeah. And as we show our picture, we send our wedding videos,
expensive cars,
and we can hire that car for one day. It doesn't mean it's ours. It's ours. Yeah. And so that's why they think they are in luxury life. They have money, and they have dreamed to come to Europe and have the same lifestyle very quickly. And we never talk about our feelings to them. And I think we should do that. Yeah. We should aware them about law. And as an Afghan, because in Afghanistan there was no law, that's why we have an illegal mind.
Yeah.
And we don't notice this, that as soon as you sit with an Afghan and talk, your mind is illegally. And I have seen a big problem in this. I paid off a big price for thinking illegally and being an Afghan. And so that's what we have. Yeah. And it's very hard to tell them if there is no law in Afghanistan, if So they have no interest to learn about the other countries' law. So that's why it's very hard for them to understand us.
Because I think sending back money or cash, for example, what will happen is that, as you said, we're showing them as if we are living a luxurious life here by sending in pictures and showing these cars and the houses that we have. The money that they receive, now they all of a sudden think, well, I could have the same thing here in Afghanistan. So why not? Let's do that. Let's buy nice clothes, nice shoes, a very good watch, and, go on an excursion around the country in Afghanistan and live a luxurious life, which I think is happening. The money that you give them is not spent in self-development.
That's right.
In education. It's not. So I think it's now time for the rest of the Afghans, especially the businessmen and women who can afford it, to invest in projects.
Yes.
To give them that opportunity to advance technologically and in forms of entertainments and other things.
Well, it took time for us as well, as we came 30 years ago to Europe, and life was totally different. It took us a long time to connect it with the European and learn the culture. And but now is technology is very easy for Afghan people now, because easily they can communicate. And on that time when we came, so there was no communication much. And we never thought that we're going to stay for long in Europe and we have to build up a European life. We thought we're going to go back to Afghanistan. And we didn't make any changes. We didn't learn new resources. So now I think everyone is experienced. Everyone have something to teach Afghan people in Afghanistan. So instead, on that time, we send money. But now they don't need money. They need education and awareness. And now we are much mature to teach them. Because we learned.
We've learned.
And I have learned from my children. And now I want to teach an Afghan mom the same way. So I think we should do that. Rather than having concerts, entertainment. And now we have to move on from entertaining to a serious education and make someone's life. So entertainment doesn't teach you anything. It's just entertainment. Time pass.
I always say entertainment is for people who work hard.
Yes.
Because they need entertainment afterwards. Not if you're not working hard and you're into entertainment all day. Doesn't really serve you anything. As a last question, I would like to ask you, if you could time travel, where would you want to travel? There is a separate debate as to whether future and past exists, or is it just present at that very present moment that we are living, and then it moves. There is no past and future. But if, say, supposedly you could time travel to past the future, where would you want to go and why?
Well,
would you want to go back to the past, live that Afghani life, or would you want to not even be here? You want to go to the future and see what's happening?
No way I'm going to go back. No way I'm going to go back to past life. And I'm thinking of now and the future. And now is me, future is my children. So, because I'm going to get older, I have no future then. So then I will get retired. And I will think about now, what I can do now. And every day is a new day. And every moment is an opportunity. And we have a choice. That's the good thing, that we have a choice what to choose. And we can choose best life. We can choose positivity. We can choose love. We can choose whatever is good for our health, our children, and everyone.
Excellent. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for coming. It was really a joy to actually have you on the show today. And to all our viewers and those who are listening, I would like to say that, although we haven't had a definite answer as to who has it harder, who is freer, who is more, who's got more freedom on their hands, whether that's women in Afghanistan or Afghan women or non-Afghan women in the West. But we have certainly been able to figure out that oppression does not have to be through law or restrictions. Oppression can also be just a whisper. It can actually exist in different forms, in different versions, just as we discussed. So the Afghan women in Afghanistan, they are fighting to be seen, and women in the West, whether Afghan or non-Afghan, are fighting to be understood. And these are two separate battles, and both battles are important. Thank you very much, everybody, for sticking with us. Stay raw.